Christian architecture disappear, an earthly testimony to our faith. And that fear, that sadness has given place to hope and joy today.
Johnny Depp is getting emotional about his return to Cannes Film Festival. The Pirates of the Caribbean actor was teary-eyed.
Johnny Depp's life has been full of highs and lows, but nothing could prepare the world for what happened when he met Pope Francis. This unexpected encounter took place while Depp was going through one of his toughest battles, a long and public divorce that deeply affected him.
He can confirm Amber Heard filed for divorce from Johnny Depp on Monday.
What happened during this meeting that shocked religious communities? How did it change Depp's faith forever? In this video, we will look at what Pope Francis did with Johnny Depp that shocked all religious people. Johnny Depp encounter with Pope Francis, feeling broken and lost, needing a hand for guidance and a kind heart for love, waking up every day with a wish to disappear. These were the emotions Johnny Depp once shared. Born in Kentucky and raised without a father, he described his mother as the meanest person he has ever known. During an interview with Larry King, Depp spoke about faith, explaining that while he believed in his children and the idea of moving forward to make things better, religion was not something he felt connected to. These were his words when life's challenges hit hard.
I didn't feel it necessarily, we all feel it necessary to recognize the feedback.
Until a life-changing trip to Rome brought an encounter with the Pope. What led him to Rome? How did he meet the Pope? Brace yourself for this shocking story. It all started when the American actor made a stunning return to the red carpet at the Rome Film Festival on October 26th. He was there to present his second film as a director, a project dedicated to the life of painter Amedeo Modigliani. At the festival, Johnny Depp was honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award for his contributions to cinema, marking a career that has seen him portray iconic characters such as Captain Jack Sparrow, Willy Wonka, and the Mad Hatter. A prominent figure in the film industry since the 1990s, his movies have grossed over $8 billion at the box office. Recently, he shifted focus to directing, showcasing his skills at the event in Italy with the debut of Modi, 3 Days on the Wing of Madness. Despite the controversies surrounding his high-profile relationship and legal battle with Amber Heard, Depp's achievements were celebrated, cementing his legacy in the world of cinema. The event was attended by big names like Viggo Mortensen and Francis Ford Coppola, who both debuted new films. Coppola even worked with Adam Driver, famous for playing Kylo Ren in Star Wars. Johnny Depp's marriage to Amber Heard from 2015 to 2017 was full of maltreatments and serious accusations on both sides, leading to him losing roles in big franchises like Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, part of the Harry Potter universe. Despite the setbacks, Depp managed to keep his career alive in Europe, appearing at festivals like Cannes, where he presented Jean de Barry with a French filmmaker. While in Rome, after accepting his award, Depp had a rare and private meeting with Pope Francis, where they reportedly discussed art and its role in building cultural connections. Modi, 3 Days on the Wing of Madness, is a biographical drama about Amedeo Modigliani, an artist living in Paris during the First World War in 1916. The film stars Riccardo Scamarcio, Al Pacino, and Antonia Desplat. It premiered at the San Sebastian Film Festival in Spain before being shown in Rome. A previous film about Modigliani was released in 2004. This marks Depp's first attempt at directing since 1997 with The Brave, which received poor reviews.
His personal life has hit a very rough patch, but is Johnny Depp's movie career in trouble too? Well, maybe not catastrophically.
But before this meeting, how was he raised, especially when it comes to religion? Depp was born John Christopher Depp, II, on June 9, 1963, in Owensboro, Kentucky. His mother, Betty Sue Palmer, worked as a waitress, and his father, John Christopher Depp, was a civil engineer. Depp's parents divorced when he was a teenager, and he moved to Florida with his mother, where he went to high school. Despite his background, Johnny Depp has kept his religious beliefs private. He hasn't discussed his faith openly in interviews, leaving fans and the media to speculate. Some sources claim he was raised in a Christian household, possibly as a Baptist, due to his Southern upbringing, but Depp's views on religion have changed over time, and he's known for being open-minded and spiritually curious. The evolution of Depp's religious views. Johnny Depp has often shared his interest in Native American spirituality and shamanism, which shows a strong connection to nature and a deep respect for the earth. He has also spoken about his admiration for the teachings of Carlos Castaneda, a late author and spiritual guide who explored shamanism and altered states of consciousness. Throughout his career, Depp has surrounded himself with a diverse range of friends and collaborators, including actors, musicians, and artists with different religious beliefs. His former partner, Vanessa Paradis, a French actress and singer, is said to have her own spiritual inclinations, while Depp's close friend, Marilyn Manson, is known for his fascination with the occult and satanic imagery. This group of people may have had an impact on Depp's own spiritual journey and beliefs. Given Depp's preference for privacy and his hesitancy to talk about his personal life publicly, there's been a lot of speculation about his religious views. Some tabloids have claimed that Depp practices Buddhism, pointing to his interest in meditation and mindfulness. Others have suggested he's agnostic or even atheist, based on his unconventional lifestyle and non-traditional views. But since Depp has never confirmed any of these claims, these rumors remain just that, unverified. Recently, Johnny Depp became more vocal about skepticism toward organized religion and expressed a preference for questioning traditional beliefs. He often mentioned a desire to explore various philosophies and spiritual practices, seeking meaning and enlightenment in a unique way. Depp's agnostic beliefs reflect a curious and introspective nature, adding layers of complexity that make him an intriguing figure in the celebrity world. Although his views may not align with traditional norms, they showcase an open-mindedness and a willingness to challenge the status quo. Depp also opened up about his complex relationship with Christianity. Raised in a non-religious household, though technically Catholic, many speculated that Depp might be an atheist. While that might be partially true, this is not the way Depp defines his faith. In an interview, Depp expressed that belief lies in the present moment and the reality of existence. He acknowledged the many perspectives on the question of God, stating that the answer is unknown, especially given the lack of direct evidence. Depp further explained that he doesn't hold negative views toward organized religion and believes that everyone is free to follow their own beliefs, which he finds admirable. He even humorously remarked that being pleasantly surprised by an afterlife with loud music would be more desirable than the idea of resting in peace. Despite these uncertainties, Depp shared a spiritual perspective with his children.
Let's get down to brass tacks.
Johnny Depp is the nicest pirate we know,
encouraging them to appreciate the world around them. He advised them to view nature and their own reflections as a representation of the divine, a view he felt was close to the truth. Johnny Depp's struggles and unbelief. Johnny Depp has faced numerous struggles in his personal life, from being raised Catholic to battling drugs and enduring an abusive marriage. In a way, meeting Pope Francis brought a sense of clarity into his life. But before that, 3 people close to Depp appeared in court on Thursday, detailing his journey from being considered the biggest movie star in the world to someone battling issues with drugs, money, and his inability to arrive on time for movie sets. These testimonies were presented at the request of Amber Heard's legal team, with Depp's longtime agent, business manager, and a close friend sharing their perspectives. Tracy Jacobs, who worked as Depp's agent for almost 3 decades, revealed that in the later years of their partnership, Depp consistently showed up late for nearly every film set. Does this relate to his faith? Was it his marriage affecting him? The answer will leave you speechless. Jacobs explained that she was direct with Depp, telling him that his behavior was damaging and needed to stop. According to her, this advice made a difference. This testimony is part of Depp's libel lawsuit against Heard, where he claims that an op-ed she wrote in the Washington Post wrongly labeled him someone who inflicted physical pain on her, and this image harmed his career, especially with franchises like Pirates of the Caribbean. Heard's team argues that Depp's career downfall was the result of his own actions and bad behavior. Depp maintains that he never physically harmed Heard and was instead the victim of her maltreatment.
Johnny Depp Amber Heard defamation trial after days of testimony from Amber Heard.
But Heard's lawyers assert that Depp assaulted her, citing his alcohol and drug use as evidence of his lack of credibility. Jacobs described Depp as an extraordinary talent who became the biggest movie star in the world, but his behavior took a sharp decline in the years leading up to his firing in 2016. Jacobs pointed out that his drug and alcohol use grew more intense, and word of his unprofessionalism spread. In a small industry like Hollywood, people talk, and this made it harder for Depp to land roles. Joel Mandel, Depp's former business manager, explained how Pirates of the Caribbean shot Depp to fame, taking him to a whole new level of success. This new fame meant more employees and more expensive lifestyles, including buying additional properties. But around 2010, things began to change. Mandel observed a growing problem with alcohol and drugs, which led to erratic behavior and stress. These issues also made it difficult to have the necessary conversations to manage his finances. At one point, Depp was spending $100,000 a month just on a doctor and staff to help him get sober. Later, his spending rose to $300,000 a month for full-time staff. On top of that, there were times when Depp spent thousands each month on prescription drugs. Mandel noted that as the spending increased, it required a level of income that was unsustainable. When the money dried up, the situation became impossible to manage. Mandel grew increasingly concerned about Depp's finances in 2015, but Depp reacted with anger to those concerns. In 2016, Depp fired him. Bruce Witkin, a musician who had been friends with Depp for almost 40 years, shared that Depp's jealousy in romantic relationships was evident. This jealousy was particularly clear with Heard when she would be away filming a movie or doing something that Depp couldn't monitor. Witkin mentioned that Depp would often get worked up over these situations. He also recalled seeing bruises on Heard's arm while working on a documentary with Depp, and noticing Depp had a fat lip on another occasion. But Witkin clarified that he never witnessed physical maltreatment between Depp and Heard. Witkin also tried to help Depp with his substance misuse, even arranging for him to see a therapist. Depp often reassured him, saying that everything would be fine, but it was clear that it wasn't.
Johnny Depp sued his ex-wife Amber Heard for defamation, Depp claiming Heard made up allegations that he abused her.
Depp's sister, Christy Dembrowski, had always been concerned about his health and well-being, particularly regarding his substance use. Witkin observed that many people close to Depp, though concerned, often stayed silent because they feared losing their jobs. While not everyone fell into this category, it was clear that in the world Depp inhabited, everyone seemed to want something. As time passed, Witkin's friendship with Depp began to fade, especially toward the end of 2017 when Depp started distancing himself. Witkin received a strange text from Depp, accusing him of betraying him, but Depp refused to explain what he meant. After that, Witkin had not seen Depp since 2018. Depp and Heard marriage left him deeply shaken. The two first met on the set of their 2011 film, The Rum Diary, both involved with other people at the time. Depp was in a long-term relationship with French musician and actress Vanessa Paradis, while Heard was dating photographer Tasia Van Ree. Despite this, both stars admitted that there was an undeniable chemistry between them. After Depp split from Paradis, they began secretly dating. Heard later shared that she felt like Depp understood her in a way no one else had. Being around him made her feel like the most beautiful person in the world, as if she were worth $1 million. The feelings were mutual. A source revealed that Depp was completely captivated by Heard. A longtime friend of the actor described her as a free thinker and noted that her presence had transformed his life. But this change eventually soured. The couple married in a private ceremony on a private island in 2015, but just 15 months later, they parted ways. Heard filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences, and sought a temporary restraining order against Depp.
The couple was plagued by split rumors early on, which Amber slammed in Marie Claire magazine.
Amidst allegations of domestic violence. In August 2016, they reached a $7 million divorce settlement. But the situation turned ugly again in March 2019 when Depp sued Heard for defamation. This lawsuit was sparked by a 2018 piece she wrote for The Washington Post, where she discussed the discrimination she claimed to have faced following her domestic maltreatment allegations against Depp. The article was meant to support women who come forward about maltreatment. The legal battle officially began on April 11, 2022, with both actors making explosive allegations of physical, emotional, and mental maltreatment against each other.
Many prophecies and meanings have been surrounding the Euphrates River for years, but no one would expect the charismatic owner of Tesla, Elon Musk, to be among those foretelling the future. It is shocking for people to hear his opinion on the matter. What is Elon Musk's opinion on the river? What did he say that's caused so much controversy around the world? You'll find all these answers in this video as you watch to the end. Elon Musk is known for his accomplishments with the internet. He started by co-founding the online money transfer platform X.com, later called PayPal. He later founded Space Exploration Technologies, SpaceX, a space exploration company that aims to design rockets at lower prices to reduce the cost of space exploration. Elon Musk is known as a business magnate, tech guru, space enthusiast, investor, a CEO, among other things, but no one would give him the role of a prophet. People's perception didn't stop him from telling the world what he foresees would happen if the Euphrates River dries up. The Euphrates River is one of the most popular and important rivers in the world, and it's been gaining the curiosity of a lot of people. They're going to lengths to find out what it is, searching through Google to find out more about the river. Elon Musk has announced that the Euphrates River might dry up. What's the significance and what makes it so noteworthy? Over the years, Elon Musk has announced situations he saw as possible threats and dangers to humans or the environment. This time he announced that the Euphrates River might dry up. This is of so much significance because the Bible says that the world would end by drying the Euphrates River. So his announcement has brought some agitation because it could affect the entire world. Elon Musk must have his reasons for saying that, and we'll show you how his findings line up with the history recorded in the Bible. Let's hope it doesn't come as too much of a shock for you. No one knows when the second coming is, and even Jesus said God only knows the exact time. We have pastors, prophets, and even researchers trying to predict when it'll be, and everyone believes that Judgment Day is coming soon and that we should all stay prepared and ready. Recent happenings have given us new reasons to get more curious about the prophecies concerning the end of time and life, and whether they would be coming even sooner than we think. Prophecies have become a source of arguments on the internet, in groups, in Bible study, and in churches. And some other people are wondering why the prospect is making people so scared and agitated. A short story about the Euphrates River could put things in perspective and help with better understanding. Euphrates River is one of the defining rivers of Mesopotamia, and the longest river in Southwest Asia, measuring 1,740 miles. The river begins in Turkey and flows southeast across Syria, through Iraq, before emptying itself into the Persian Gulf. Among all the people of different cultures that have lived and prospered along the banks of the Euphrates River in the past are the people of the Mesopotamian Kingdom. The Mesopotamian Kingdom is found between the Euphrates and the Tigris River, in an area known as the Fertile Crescent. That part of the world is in the Middle East, spanning Iraq, Syria, Israel, Palestine, and Jordan. Along the banks of the Euphrates River, different types of plants have been grown over the years, and that's changed the makeup of the land around the river, but some old plants can still be found there. The river receives water from 3 tributaries: the Sanjur, the Balik or Jalab, and the Kabor subbasin. Still, most of its water is gotten from rainfall, melting alpine snow, which is why it's usually fuller around April and May when the snow on the surrounding mountains melts and rainfall begins. Over 4,000 years ago, Babylon, the capital of southern Mesopotamia, Babylonian Empire, started as a small harbor by the Euphrates River. The remains of the city can still be found in Iraq. While their king Hammurabi was ruling, the city rose to great power, becoming one of the most influential cities of its time. In 1923, after World War I ended, the Ottoman Empire broke up and the treaty was signed. The treaty is widely known as the Treaty of Lausanne, a peace treaty recognizing Turkey as the new successor to the Ottoman Empire. Apart from Turkey's international recognition, the treaty also touched on the Euphrates River, noting that the three countries along its banks, the new successor Turkey, United Kingdom for Iraq, and France for Syria, must always have an agreement on how the river's water will be used and if any hydraulic infrastructure would be built. They all had to agree on it. If the flow of the Tigris-Euphrates water system changed, Turkey had to tell Iraq, which ensued in a deal between them in 1946. The deal allowed Iraq to build land on Turkish land to control the flow of the Euphrates River. In the early 1970s, Turkey started the Güneydoğu Anadolu Projesi, GAP, the Southeastern Anatolia project. The project was a bold step by Turkey, based on creating a sustainable development plan for the 9 million people in the southeastern Anatolia region. The project had planned on using the waters from the Tigris and the Euphrates River for irrigation and production of hydroelectricity. This would also boost the economy of the country. The first dams built in this project were the Terban and the Tabqa dams on the Euphrates in Turkey and Syria. The two were built in the same year. By 1975, the dam was used and the pool was filled with water. In the same year, a terrible drought occurred, drastically reducing the water flowing from the rivers into Iraq from 159 cubic kilometers down to a shocking 4 cubic kilometers, obviously causing scarcity for the people of Iraq. The water shortage in Iraq in 1975 caused it to say it would bomb the Tabqa Dam if something were not done to curtail the situation. This threat did not only pose a problem to Syria, but also to the world stage. After several talks that involved Saudi Arabia and the Soviet Union, Iraq and Syria finally reached an agreement. The environment and culture around the dam have been seriously affected by irrigation practices, dam building, and hydroelectric generation. Sometimes the pools of the dams overflow, causing flooding, which has destroyed over 380 villages and displaced about 200,000 people, causing them to move away from their homes, sometimes to unfamiliar terrain. Unfortunately, the water has continued to get lower in recent years, reaching a dangerously low level with the risk of drying. Looking over the river, some parts have already dried up, leaving the river narrower. The dried patches once contained water that was useful and important to people who lived there. Even the amount of water flowing from Turkey to Syria has dramatically reduced. It's only about 200 cubic meters per second, less than half of what the two countries agreed on in an earlier deal. A comparison of the water level in the dams built is also a stark representation of how much the water levels have dropped. In 1987, the Syrian and Turkish governments had a deal for Turkey to send 500 cubic meters of water per second to Syria. Still, Turkey has yet to hold up its end of the deal, sending only 200 cubic meters of water per second to Syria, less than half of the agreed quantity. Turkey is weaponizing the Euphrates River and stopping water from flowing to Iraq and Syria. Walking along the banks of the river, you can quickly tell how low the water levels have gotten. Due to the lack of water in the river, the water in the Syrian dams has also reduced dramatically, causing there to be difficulties in farming and irrigation as the agricultural land available is dried. There needs to be more than the water in the river and dams for irrigation. The low water levels have also resulted in a drop in electricity production and supply in the region. Not only do people have to manage water for their everyday activities, but low water levels are now posing a health risk as it's becoming increasingly difficult to get clean drinking water. The water is either dirty or insufficient. The river is drying up, and runoff from agricultural chemical use affects parts of the available water. The governments of North and East Syria have issued a warning about Turkey's plan to use and reduce the water in the Euphrates. He warned that the plan would not only cause harm to the government, but be a direct threat to human lives and a significant risk to the lives of the over 9 million Syrians who live along the river's banks. Since no agreement they make with the Turkish government would be honored, the body in charge of the dams in North and East Syria is calling on humanitarian groups and the rest of the world to intervene in what Turkey's doing. The rate at which the water level is dropping is quite alarming. Geologists are also getting more worried by the day, and it's also getting increasingly difficult to find out what's causing the problem. Even Lake Assad, Syria's largest lake, is greatly affected by this, and on the Global Climate Risk Index, Syria is one of the countries at top risk. As a result of this problem, the United Nations has also sent out a warning to the people living in the Mediterranean region that heat waves would become worse, more frequent, and lasting for longer periods. Since there are many good reasons why the river is drying up, people have turned to the Bible for answers, and some quickly relate it to the book of Revelations. Some people who already know what was written in the Bible are not very shocked about the recent happenings, because they believe the Bible already prophesied it, and so it would happen. Many people have believed that what was written about the end of the world would happen after they're long gone, but it becomes scary that the end of the world is occurring right before you. Some people interpret parts of Revelations to mean that Iraq would be an essential part of the world coming to an end. In Revelation chapter 16, the Bible talked about the Euphrates River, saying that the sixth angel poured out his bowl on the great Euphrates River, and its water was taken away to make way for the kings from the east. While some people think this prophecy is about the water drying up or making it unfit for use, others argue that it's about tearing down some walls to make an attack easier. The Euphrates River also served as a boundary to Israel to the east, showing where its lands ended. It kept Israel safe for decades because it was hard to cross, and there was a desert between them and Canaan, the Promised Land. The great Euphrates River runs 2,000 miles toward Palestine and then turns southeast to empty itself in the Persian Gulf. A long time ago, King Cyrus of Persia took over Babylon by diverting the Euphrates River. After doing this, they easily marched into Babylon and overcame it because the stream was dry. At the end of days during the Great Tribulation, an enemy from the east will march through Babylon again, crossing the Euphrates before entering Palestine. Another reason for people's fear is from Revelation 9, verse 14. God tells the sixth angel to let go of the 4 angels bound at the Euphrates River. If they're bound, are these angels or demons? It's safe to assume that these angels are demons because it says they're bound. Possibly, they were angels sent away from heaven with Lucifer after he rebelled against God. They were usually chained and banished to live in darkness deep underneath the earth. The book of Revelation constantly reminds us that no one can do evil and get away with it, even in the end times. It also reminds us that nothing happens without the knowledge of God. Whether he allows it to happen or he engineers it to happen, he is in charge of everything. With the prophecy of the 4 angels bound at the Euphrates, many people speculate that the origin of sin must have begun at the Euphrates Valley. The Euphrates River is one of the great rivers flowing out of the Garden of Eden according to the Bible, so we can assume that the murder of Abel by his brother Cain, the first murder, happened near that place. Recently, people living in the region have been complaining of groanings and strange sounds coming from beneath the dried sections of the river. This might give little proof that the people's belief about the presence of bound angels in the region is not a fallacy. It also makes it easier for people to believe that the second coming, when Jesus would return to defeat his enemies, is close. With agitations growing, a pastor in Uganda, Joseph Kabuleta, held a watcher meeting where he told his congregation and Ugandans in general to watch for the second coming and stay alert. In this meeting, he explained different Bible verses portraying prophecies and the references to the present day, and how some of the things recorded have already happened or are currently happening. One of these Bible predictions is the revival of the Dead Sea, the saltiest sea on the earth. its salt concentration is so high you cannot sink in its waters, and it cannot support any life forms, whether plants or animals. But God told Ezekiel that the waters of the sea would someday be healed and support life forms. This prophecy is coming to pass already, as freshwater fish ponds were discovered along the banks of the Dead Sea in 2016. The pastor didn't stop there, and he gave more insight into the battle that was to happen near the river in the last days. He went on to say that armies from different countries, amassing up to 200 million people, would face Israel, and to survive the battle, Israel would use nuclear weapons. Remember that Israel is kept safe by the Euphrates River, and if it dries up, it would be easier for the armies to cross the river. The river has begun drying, and if measures aren't taken, it would be gone permanently. Pastor Kabulita further went to say that the 7 years of peace recorded in the Bible would be achieved when the other nations intervened in the battle and caused a temporary peace deal between the warring factions. After this, Jesus would be in control of what happens next. These explanations make sense, and even though Elon Musk doesn't believe in God, he has provided other facts and studies. Which do you believe? Is the drying up due to climate change, or does this signify the second coming? Tell us your thoughts in the comment section, like the video, and don't forget to subscribe.